Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's CRM Magazine web event brought to you by Form Assembly. I'm Bob Fernikes. I'm the publisher of CRM Magazine, and I'll be the moderator for today's broadcast. Our presentation today is titled Smarter Data, Supercharged CRM, Unlocking HubSpot's Full Potential with Advanced Forms. Before we start, I just want to explain how you can participate in this live broadcast. At the end of the event, we will have a question and answer session. So if you have any questions during the broadcast, just type them into the question box provided, click on submit, and we'll get to them at the end. If for some reason we can't get to yours, don't worry. We'll follow up within a few days by email. We're going to have a little bit of a different format today, very lively. We've got panel discussion, demo, 2 polls, and the Q&A at the end. So please, would like everybody to engage with us. So now to introduce our speakers for today, I'm going to ask everyone, starting with Andy, just to say your name and your title and give us a little bit about your role.
Hey, thanks, Bob. Hey, everyone. Andy Golden with Form Assembly. I work alongside implementation partners to simplify messy data and workflows. And if I'm not doing that, I'm probably outside with my wife and 3 kids looking for orcas, raptors, and just leaning into those outdoor adventures.
Great. How about you, Shakima?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shakima Franklin. I'm the Customer Success Engineer here at Form Assembly. I work with our Tier 2 support team to help customers who are working through building workflows, connecting different systems together, building forms, and if they have questions about that, or if they run into any sticky issues, I am the person that they reach out to. So happy to see you all.
Fantastic. And Kate?
Hi, my name is Kate Hudson. I am with Hubly. We are a HubSpot specialist agency, but I was thinking about this as my intro. I think my first CRM was probably Sugar, like 25 years ago. And since then, I've worked in many CRMs, but I will say that HubSpot is my favorite. So that is why I work with Hubly, and we work with a variety of clients doing their HubSpot implementation and optimization.
Great, fantastic. And Josh, if you can kind of fill us in on yourself and just introduce the agenda after that, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bob. My name is Josh Straley. I'm one of the product marketing managers here at Form Assembly. And, you know, I consider my job to be that of a middleman in between our product and our users, finding out how our customers use us to solve their data challenges, and how Form Assembly, on the other side, how, you know, like we can help them solve challenges and making sure they're aware of those tools, which is really what brings me and Form Assembly to today's session. You know, every CRM is only as good as the data in it, but getting data into your CRM can be difficult when your form tools don't allow you to collect all of the data you need in a format you need, or if there are limits to what those forms can do. And that is not just an issue with HubSpot. It's really almost every native form builder that we see out in the wild. There's limitations on what forms can do, and that makes it a struggle to do everything you need to do with your CRM data. Form Assembly has been helping organizations in the Salesforce space solve data collection challenges for decades. But just this year, we introduced an integration with the HubSpot marketplace to help organizations that are using HubSpot use the Form Assembly data collection platform to supercharge their CRM with better data using the tools that Shakima will later show you today. But before we get into that, as Bob said, let's talk about the agenda. First, Andy and Kate are going to talk about the organizations that they help solve data collection challenges. CRM challenges are not specific to just Sugar or just HubSpot or just Salesforce. Oftentimes, these challenges are very common across ecosystems. So we're going to take a look at what those CRM challenges are today and discuss how Kate and Andy are helping organizations, you know, solve those challenges, and where Form Assembly can, of course, play a role there. After that, we're going to take a look at some data from a recent report that Form Assembly produced. We looked at 1.6 billion form interactions, and I'm going to be able to help you find out from those interactions how to improve your own forms with some quick tips. After that, Shakima is going to take a look at the Form Assembly platform. We're going to do a live demonstration and walk through Form Assembly's data collection workflows, how you can connect to HubSpot CRM objects, standard and custom, and how you can collect payments as a part of your data collection workflows as well. So a really well-rounded demonstration. I think it's going to show you exactly what Form Assembly can do for HubSpot users. And last but not least, we will have time for questions. So feel free to, as Bob mentioned, ask your questions. We will take some time at the end of the session to get those answered. But I think we have a poll to kick us off. Bob, is that correct?
Yes, it is. And I see it popping up right now. So the question is, are you currently using AI to automate your data collection workflows? A very simple one, yes or no. And just want to take a little temperature of the audience and see where everybody is to see if they're currently using a solution right now. So I'm just going to give a few more seconds for people to make their picks. You've got 2 picks, one yes or no. So it's a pretty good one. All right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, come on, people. All right. Okay. I think we've got a good enough sample right now. Again, the question is, are you currently using AI to automate your data collection workflows? Okay, only 14%, and they're still coming in. Actually, okay, that rose to 22% right at the end. 22% said yes, 77% said no. So I assume that the 77%, 3/4 is that something that you guys are used to seeing? Is that pretty standard?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I see Kate nodding as well. Form Assembly just this year introduced some agentic AI tools, an assistant that helps organizations build forms and workflows. And I think, that's becoming more common, but I don't see a lot of AI tools being used in the data collection space right now.
All right, great. All right. So, we're going into our panel discussion right now. We've got Andy Golden and Kate Hudson, and I've got some questions here for you guys. I'm going to ask this first question to Kate, but Andy, feel free to join in if you'd like to. And the first question is a basic one. Let's start by defining data collection for our audience, and let's use some examples. What data collection processes do you see in organizations that you work with? What are people doing right now?
It spans the gamut. So I have one client right now who actually does face-to-face, and I'm going to make a plug for HubSpot. So they just released a beta where it will now collect data when you're doing a face-to-face meeting. So you don't have to take notes. You don't have to put it into a spreadsheet to update later. So a lot of our small business clients collect data that way when they're doing sort of door-to-door, boots on the ground sales. We do see a lot of form submits as data collection. I would put that as arguably, 80 to 90% of our data collection comes through that. And I would say the other percentage will come through live events. And it would be, it would be a more rudimentary form submission more than anything else. It's going to be a spreadsheet that they just have you fill out. But realistically, that's because they don't have internet on the floor in order to fill out a form.
Right. Is face-to-face something new? Is that something they would use in, let's say, the census or an application like that, or use case like that?
If the government trusted it, I think they actually could, because what it does, this beta will listen and transcribe and take notes and automatically add it to the contact record, which is really cool. And it just came out a couple of weeks ago. So what we used to have our customers do up until then was a spreadsheet, because you can upload data pretty easily through a spreadsheet in HubSpot. It's just a one and done. And the data can be a little messy too, if you want, because HubSpot will let you clean it retroactively. So I could foreseeably see that happening. We'll just have to watch and see.
Great. Andy, I see you nodding your head. I don't know if you have any experiences with what you've seen out in the wild.
Sure. Customer stories are the currency of kind of our work. And one that I like a lot is the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't think of forms in the way of like a QR code on a Jumbotron looking for me and my wife to upload, our selfies, where we sat, what we ate, what we bought our girls at the merch store. But that is all Form Assembly. That is all marketing data about those fans. And especially for that organization, they were curious about the first time a fan comes to their stadium and the digital touch points you're able to have then on from an advertisement, promotion, season ticket, perhaps. So getting those first pieces of data, I've noticed across sports or other types of brands as well, is like a first date impression, the same way you think of, in romantic or relationships.
Great. Fantastic. Okay. So next question is, when you need to collect a high volume, wait a second, let me see if this is actually the next question. Okay, so here's the next question. And Andy, I'll pose this one to you, to be fair. Poor data quality is a challenge for any CRM user. What's the most frequent data quality issues you hear organizations struggling with?
Yeah, I'll give two examples there. I sat across the table a long time ago in Birmingham with a major bank, and the gentleman across the table had a bola and cowboy boots on. His name was Rusty, I kid you not. And he ran a major portion of this bank's revenue. And he told me point blank he doesn't trust a single piece of data in their CRM except the closed $1 amount. And that was because of the audit, the scrutiny, the finance overhead, all the things that went into that one data point. And so in that presentation, he effectively articulated that we were trying to sell him data integrity at that point. Rather than anything else, that was the theme we were trying to communicate, and a value that he had yet been able to put his finger on. Which is scary, right? You think about a major SVP at a bank not really trusting anything else in their system. So the ripple effects of that, whether it not being able to justify a BI tool or analytics, like the ripple outside of just that one sentiment is pretty widespread at an organization like that.
Absolutely. So, did things get a lot scarier after COVID, where people were working from home and business addresses no longer made any sense for anyone, and all of those kind of things, those kind of issues? Was this pretty much wide open right there? We kind of saw that with our own data, actually.
Yeah, it certainly can be, especially if you're of the mind of, need this piece of information, I'm going to walk down the hall or up a flight of steps to go find it. And maybe in more of a virtual environment, you're now really system driven. You're really standardization, governance, whatever you can see and control and record is the lifeblood of maybe your data and your company, rather than me walking up the steps and going and speaking with Kate for 15 minutes. I've got to look at a system, about her data or about what we're working on at a project level, as opposed to going straight to the human source, possibly.
Right. Okay. And Kate, do you have any war stories on this topic?
Oh, so many. So many. For us, it's duplicates. So we run into duplicates all the time, especially in HubSpot, because the email is the record ID. And a lot of our customers have a B2B database, and they stay in one industry specific. So what ends up happening is people job hop. And if you're not really on top of your data and you're not really on top of merging your contact records, what you end up happening is having one person have 5 different contact records with 5 different activities spread across those records. And it takes a while to merge them. I will say that HubSpot makes it relatively easy, but you have to know it's a problem, and you don't know what you don't know. So that's a big issue that our customers face a lot, is just going in there and understanding that you have a mess.
Right. All right. Hey, I got this next question, which I'm going to pose to you, Kate, so don't go away. And the question is, when you need to collect a high volume of complex, detailed information, like an application, detailed survey, or multi-step registration, how do the organizations you work with handle the complexity?
So I will. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say that because you see so many different ones.
I will say the reason why we got so excited with the partnership of Form Assembly and going into HubSpot is I know about Form Assembly because they did my online application when I was in small business financing about 10 years ago. So we're really excited about them getting into HubSpot because we are going to recommend them because Form Assembly blows the HubSpot forms out of the water. Now, that said, HubSpot has made a lot of investment into their forms. It's night and day between 2 years ago and now, because you used to basically have to zombify the forms. And what I mean by that is you'd have one form, you'd press submit, and then the thank you page would actually be another form. And it wasn't a great user experience. So that's what we used to have to do. We have been able to utilize the new features. And they just allowed a new beta, which is where you can put a payment link as a field. So now you can pay directly from a form, which is a huge improvement from the user experience. But this part, I will admit, God bless HubSpot, it has been a little slow, but imagine it's like a snowball rolling downhill. It started out slow, but it's getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. And Form Assembly, I really, really, really like the product. But if it's just too big of an engine for what you need to start, HubSpot can now meet those needs in a much more user-friendly way.
Right. Wow. You're one of the reasons why I love having end users on, because you really know what people care about, and you can see it so clearly and just put it right out there. Anyway, Andy, do you have anything to add to this?
I feel like Kate covered that pretty well. I'm very interested to see, and always with our platform partners, the evolution of their solutions. We're downstream of that a little bit. We have our own agenda and roadmap and whatnot, but we get to react and evolve along with multiple vendor data partners, I'll call it, like HubSpot or Salesforce or otherwise. It's very interesting to watch and then complement along the way.
Right. Okay, great. Okay, so Andy, here's a great question for you. So let's talk about AI and data collection. How is AI impacting the organizations that you work with, and how are you seeing organizations benefit from the AI aspect? I don't know if you can kind of give us a preview of what you're looking at right now. Everything's so new these days. So
yeah, well, and keep me honest on a 21-second response, because I feel like this is something that we could take a lot of time on. But yeah, I think for me, most of our customers have AI at the forefront of their strategic conversations internally. It kind of represents this like big hairy bullet point, I feel like, on every one of their agendas, but some aren't quite yet translating that into principles or themes that they can adopt and feel more tangible at the business unit or even at the individual contributor type of level. One customer, though, I will say on the other end of that spectrum, AI is their business, and it's the main lens through which they approach problems. That is unique. I think that is the goal, maybe, that everyone falls asleep at night hoping that the next morning they'll wake up and be able to actually operationalize. But I'm really only seeing that in a handful of maybe our more sophisticated customers. And then their cohesion, human intelligence and AI being cohesive is the secret, like magic bullet, if you will, that I don't really think anyone's really cracked yet, and probably will just be a matter of time for each company to have their own articulated flavor of what that cohesion looks like, in my opinion.
Right. Kate, are you kind of seeing, what are you seeing with maybe some of your accounts that are, off in different industries?
Maybe
not high tech, but somebody that's a little more afraid of AI, let's say.
It's one of those things where, so HubSpot's all in on AI, all in. And to be honest, I'm not that impressed with their some of the features, especially their ChatGPT content writer in the email. I'm a big believer that AI is a tool you should use. It's not the end all be all. So I always encourage our clients, use it as a tool. Don't let it take your voice away. So they think it is cost prohibitive. And for a lot of enterprise solutions, it is. But that said, we walk them through what it can do in HubSpot. And then frankly, we usually tell them about ChatGPT. And that's frankly all a lot of them need. It's use it as an assistant. You are the subject matter expert, but it can tweak the content you want to write. It can make it more aligned with your marketing, and it can help you come up with ideas, but it's never going to be the thing that runs your business. So we really tailor that message to them, and we take a first do no harm approach to our clients as well. So we are not ever going to recommend something unless we've already used it, tested it, and can stand behind it.
Right. You seem like a very concrete person that's looking at the actual, okay, what's this actually look like in real life out there? Andy, I don't know if you have anything to answer or add to that, but actually, I don't
know about.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No. That's good.
Well,
no, please.
Yeah, we're on the same page, and I think it's cool to hear Kate's perspective. Probably more in a consultative, a pre-agreement sort of conversations that maybe last weeks and months, where, as sometimes when I'm at the table with folks, they've had those internal conversations already. And maybe that's a privileged position I'm in to kind of get self-qualified into those types of organizations, whereas others, I just don't know that we're yet talking to them in those terms or those types of phrasing. So that's my hope, I guess, over the next kind of evolution of multiple quarters or years, that AI as a term won't feel as scary or as unrelatable to more organizations, and there's this more adoption, if you will, or at least consideration phase, over the next coming quarters.
Right. All right. Well, we actually did a reader study, and when we first started with AI, it's a continuum, basically. How far along are you on your AI journey? And the first 2 years, it actually went backwards. So I don't think people really quite understood what it was, the first 2 years. But so it kind of recalibrated. So here's a question for you, Kate. I'll pose this to you. So what trends are you seeing in the HubSpot ecosystem? You seem to be a expert on that. And what are HubSpot users looking for out of their CRM?
So they are all in on AI. In fact, I read, I think it was a Bloomberg article a few days ago about sales are down. And so they are looking to make up for the fact that raw sales are down through AI use. Now, that said, our clients aren't that interested in the AI use. The true bread and butter of HubSpot is the CRM. And I will sing all day, every day about the praises of the email marketing system. I think bar none, it is the best email deployment system on the market. Truly, it is intuitive. It has the best reporting. It makes your email beautiful. It can get through those awful Outlook filters that will always strip out your beautiful design. So realistically, it's meat and potatoes that our customers look for. They want a great sales pipeline. They want a customizable sales pipeline. They want to be able to send an email based on a trigger. So it's those tools. The automation tool is bar none as well. It is getting easier and easier to use. I have been in the HubSpot ecosystem for almost 10 years. It once took me, when I first started, it took me a full day to learn how to upload a list. And now it is like, you do it in 30 seconds, and I can teach my clients in 30 seconds. So they are making it easier to access. And what we have to help our clients learn is the tool is so vast and it can do it in so many different ways. You really have to be precise in what you want it to do and not get overwhelmed, because they do get overwhelmed because there's 50 million ways to skin the cat. So just keeping it at that basic level and doing the foundational work. And then they tend to discover the different betas. I mean, if I started talking about all the betas, we'd be here for 3 hours. So
Right. Okay. So when you have an engagement with a client, I mean, you basically are whittling down things so they're not trying to boil the ocean to begin with, right? I mean, that's essentially what you've done with your vast experience. I mean, you were with Sugar CRM 25 years ago. Yeah, you've got a lot of experience. All right, great. Andy, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, from my perspective, our customers are focused on unifying data, which is one of those phrases we overuse, but the fact that data is all over the place, whether it's known data or whether it's data you want to get. And so that's sometimes a bit of a prerequisite chapter before we even talk to customers, honestly, because we aren't necessarily in the business of fixing their internal problems as much as ideally they've come to some terms before we end up in engagements with them, or else that's something they have to either go back and look at a bit. I'll say something that definitely comes to the forefront is platform consolidation. And maybe more of it's like a tool consolidation as opposed to platform. But the fact that a lot of these larger platforms have so many things in them, to Kate's point, yet customers are still 10 or 20 more solutions deep in their cap sheet, and their finance team is going, hey, wait a minute. Why do we have 97 tools? We only have 30 people, And so that definitely comes up. And, with Form Assembly having, an e-signature capability, with us having DocGen, with us being able to tie into systems downstream, like the SharePoints, like the Box, like the Dropbox, we do see ourselves fitting a nice gap for a lot of our customers where perhaps there is some consolidation they can utilize and justify as a business case to, standardize a bit of those processes with Form Assembly.
Fantastic. I think we're going to pass things over to Josh, but I don't know if either one of you wanted to just mention anything in closing, or we can pass things over to Josh and Shakima, I think. Well, why don't we pass things off?
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Kate. Before we move on to talking about some data, I just wanted to make a quick call out. Again, Kate, thank you for bringing the experience of yourself and the Hubly team to our webinar today. And I know you have an offer for anyone who needs help with some of perhaps those data duplicates inside of HubSpot, or just improving their HubSpot data. I know your team can offer them some services there. So if you're interested in working with Kate and her team, the QR code on screen or hubly.co can get you in touch with them. So again, gang, I wanted to take a little bit of time. Form Assembly has been in the data collection game for more than 20 years. And while we don't work with Sugar quite so much, we have been working as a form builder and a data collection platform for that long. And we've seen a lot of things. So just this year, we took a look back at about 1.6 billion user interactions with our forms, of course, aggregated, anonymized, never individual submissions to customer-specific records. But our goal was to identify broad patterns and be able to share practical data-backed strategies on how you can improve your forms. Because as I mentioned earlier, the forms are the gateway not just to data in your CRM, but data anywhere in your ecosystem, whether you have forms sending files to SharePoint, as Andy mentioned, or straight to your HubSpot CRM record. So I've got some highlights from that report I wanted to talk with this audience about, because if you have forms that are not collecting all the data you need, or perhaps are a high friction experience for your form respondents, you're likely leaking value that you should be capturing in your CRM. You're leaking leads. The forms can be, as this slide says, a leak in your funnel. And I wanted to look into how you can repair that leak. So first, we want to look at, just kind of like what we learned with these interactions. First, about 1 in 3 forms experience drop off, where the form respondent coming into a form gives up and doesn't want to fill out that form. So about 33% is what we saw. We did see a sweet spot when it came to form time to completion, how long it actually takes somebody to fill in all of the fields and click that submit button. And it looks like about 3.5 minutes is where you're going to see the highest level of conversion or completion on your form. So keep that number in mind as we go through this presentation. We did find that if you make efforts to simplify your form, and that can look like a couple different things. That can look like minimizing the number of fields you actually collect. It could be simplifying the layout. So something that was a long form suddenly becomes several pages of forms with a small progress bar so people feel that they're making steps in their form. That can improve conversions by 43%, which is nothing to sneeze at, especially if it's a lead form or something to do with, actual monetary value. But last but not least, when we ask people about, what are the things that they're losing when their forms are experiencing drop off, they're losing leads. Or if it's like a bank, they might be having slower client onboarding. And overall, one of the biggest issues that we saw is that the customer experience, your client experience, your student experience, if you're in higher ed, all of that is worse when your forms are worse. So from our data, the top abandonment drivers were long, confusing flows. Kate mentioned earlier zombifying forms, which is a workaround that we see in a lot of form tools where you essentially daisy chain forms, back to back. Those, when they don't have the context or they don't have like bi-directional data where you're pulling data from your CRM or from your systems, can be confusing for your form respondents. And if they're confused and lost, they're just going to get out without completing your form. If you have too many required fields, this can lead to your form respondents feeling trapped and they don't know, perhaps especially if you have a long page and it's difficult to hunt down what required field they haven't submitted. That can be a driver of people getting out of your form as well. Nowadays, most people are filling out forms on some sort of mobile device, largely phones. If you're not optimizing for mobile, you are likely causing friction for your form respondents and losing them as a part of the form. And then if your form just has unclear labels or even just unhelpful text, perhaps you say email, but you mean business email. Perhaps you say phone, but you don't specify the formatting of that phone number. Those can all lead to form drop-offs. So as we looked at what made for high completing forms, we found about 5 KPIs. First, the first 2 are essentially the inverse of each other. And actually, number 1 should read completion rate. Completion rate and abandonment rate are essentially 2 sides of the same coin. Completion rate being how many people actually complete, and then your abandonment rate being how many fall off without completing your form. While they seem a little redundant, what's important though is being able to track your averages for these each and being able to understand that, hey, I've got a lead form on this page, completion rate about 40%. Is that good? Is that bad? Being able to know if your completion rate or your abandonment rate getting away from your average, either in your industry or at your organization, is something to make sure that you monitor each individually. As I mentioned earlier, understanding how long it's taking for organizations, for your form respondents to complete the form is really important, especially if you're trying to optimize for faster completions. And your error rates are, this is a field-specific KPI. It's when, as I mentioned earlier, if you're asking for phone number and you're validating a field to make sure that that phone number includes area code because you want a full phone number, but the respondents are only giving you, those first 7 digits or second 7 digits, that is something you can track as an error when they try to submit and it's like, oh, this doesn't look like the information that we're asking. Perhaps they're giving email addresses without the .org or the .com. That can be an error rate as well. If you're able to track that, you're able to see where inside of your form might be the highest friction points and exactly where someone might drop off or become frustrated. Last but not least, conversion rate. Conversion rate I look at as different than completion. Completion is one form. Conversion rate is actually the form respondent completing the action that they came there to do. And that might look like an action that actually takes over several forms in a workflow. That might look like a full client onboarding, or again, in the higher education space. It might look like a request for information from a university all the way through to enrolling or applying for an undergrad. So that's where conversion and completion diverge. So with those metrics in mind, you need to be able to track them. And, we're not here, as Kate said, HubSpot has put some work into their form and data collection tools over the last couple of years. But where Form Assembly stands out is this is what we've been focused on. We're not a CRM first, we're a data collection platform first. So one of the tools that we offer is an analytics dashboard that allows you to track all of those KPIs to see how your forms are performing and compare them across other forms in your account. This way, you know that if one of your campaigns landing pages is out converting others, you can look at why that form is out converting. And if you are on the negative side, seeing a form that doesn't convert, you're able to get down to the field level information about which form fields are causing people to jump out of the form, which forms are erroring at higher rates, which ones are bottlenecks. All of that's available on our dashboard. We're not going to look at the dashboard today. Shakim is about to show you what it looks like for a non-zombified data collection process where you have very well orchestrated and sophisticated data collection workflows with that trail from form to form. We're going to take a look at that. But if you are interested in learning more about the dashboard or about the data insights that we pulled together from this report, make sure you visit formassembly.com. That full report is available in our resources section. But enough information and data. Let's get into a demo. Shakima, I'd love to bring you onto screen and show what Form Assembly is able to do. Take it away.
Thank you, Josh. Let me just get this up on the screen for everyone to see. Alrighty, so today I'm going to walk you through how you can seamlessly collect the data you need in your CRM directly in HubSpot and the payment information all in a single form. So we have our dummy form here for our Future of Learning Summit of 2026. This is what the respondent will see when you've shared a link with them. They maybe opened it up from their email, found it on your website, and they are now looking at the form to fill it out. We have some general event information for the respondent, and there's a next button so that they can go to the page to actually fill out the form. At the top, we've included some instructions. We can start filling out this form. We will be Jane Doe today. And we are from the FA University. There's tools to help with address filling out easier. So you could just put in part of your address and that will autofill. We'll pretend like we are a previous attendee for last year's event. So we'll put 2024 here. And what do you hope to get most out of this event? I want to learn new things. Now at the bottom of our form, we have a question that says, I'm registering as a professional or a student. On the next page, this will control what workshops are shown to the educators or the students based on what's selected. So let's review the student side of things first. So we've selected that we're a student, and now you can see on this page, we have 3 specific student tailored workshops. We have our modern classroom management strategies, culturally responsive teaching, and thriving in student teaching, because we haven't quite become a full teacher yet. On this page, I can select different workshops and I'll see a different total tallied up here. Or I can say, no, thank you. I don't want to attend any workshops at all, and that part will completely go away, allowing me to submit without going through any payment process. I'll return to the previous page just so you can see the difference if I was to choose an educator. So we'll go back one. And we will choose Educator Professional. And now you'll see that the workshops have changed. We now have managing STEM for hands-on activities, data-driven instruction. We have the AI in the classroom choice as well. So this time I'll go ahead and select these 2 workshops. We have a total of 65 here. We also have a message that just popped up that lets the respondent know that they will be redirected so they're not surprised when a different screen appears. In this case, we're going to Stripe to complete our payment. So we'll click submit. And we have the 2 different choices that we selected. We selected that assessment workshop and the hands-on workshop for STEM. We'll put in our information. We'll do jane@email.com. Alrighty, we will pay for our tickets for this event. And we have our thank you message. We have our ticket. Jane can add this event directly to the calendar, or we can obviously print this page. We're also going to get a copy via email, so that part is not necessary. This is more of a courtesy to the user, so they have that information right away. So we have this form. We've collected the data that we want to know about our attendees or our soon-to-be attendees. We've got the payment information. Let's see what helps to power this experience. So here we're moving into our form assembly platform directly in the workflow builder. What starts a workflow, of course, is a form. We have our future of learning submitted 2026. And then we have a break here in the workflow. We have a path for those who chose not to purchase any workshops and those who have purchased a workshop. And then we have further broken it down into student workshops, educator workshops. And once they've completed their payment, they will go to the HubSpot step. Here we have HubSpot, create contact and ticket. Let's dive a little bit more into how this is configured and connected into HubSpot. So for create a contact, we have mapped directly from the form, the name, email information, those questions we asked about the attendee, whether they previously attended past events, that information is going over there too. There's school information, address, your pretty standard fields that you want to know about people who are attending an event. Moving further away from just the contact information, we have a custom object called an event ticket. For demo purposes, we just have the name of the event, but we're also pulling in information from the payment they made. We are directly going to send the Stripe payment ID to that ticket so that someone else, maybe from AR or just someone browsing the CRM who wants to bridge the gap, go to Stripe, make sure that that payment went through, or just reference it later, they can do so. Let's move to HubSpot so we can see all the information that we created. So here we have Jane Doe. And if you look, we have FA University, the address that was entered onto the form. We have our event ticket here with our Stripe payment ID. We have our educator professional label and the information about the event that they previously attended. So we did it, right? We have the data we need, we have the payment, it's all in HubSpot. What if we want to send a survey after the event so that we can get more information from our attendees? Let's move back to the form builder and we'll build a new form. But instead of me manually typing out all of these fields, dragging and dropping, which drag and drop is pretty easy to use, we'll have Faye, our AI assistant, help us build this form. So let's ask Faye to create a short post-event feedback form for the future of Learning Summit event. And I'll talk through while Faye is building for us. Faye has taken us to the form builder and we'll start adding fields based on the query that we gave to Faye. So we didn't tell Faye any specific fields to add, but Faye has the form directly in her site so she could see what form we were already working on to get an idea of what kind of questions we might want to ask as a follow-up to an event that happened. So let's look at what Faye built for us. We have the name and email. How would you rate the event? What part did you find most valuable? All things that are relevant to the event form that we already had open without giving full context. Faye just figured out what we might want to ask of our attendees who attended. So now we have full circle. We have our form collection, payment collection, everything's in HubSpot. And now we have the follow-up piece to bring it all together and close the gap on our data collection workflow. Thank you.
That was fantastic, Shakima. Thank you. I love, so for the audience, Faye and our AI assistant is a new addition to the Form Assembly platform, just released last month in October. And the time savings, our panel talked about how some organizations, they're thinking strategically about their adoption of AI, but it's definitely something that they're working towards. With a pre-trained agent like Faye, now you can use AI, leverage that efficiency and that time saving, and have it be built into the platform that you're using, and build forms for you. It's always super exciting. Shakima, thank you so much for your demo. As Kate mentioned, HubSpot has made some strides towards, making for more seamless data collection. But this is really where Form Assembly shines, is, building a data collection workflow that shows your respondent kind of where they're at in the process. You can have thank you and receipts and all of that information smoothly into your CRM. That was a perfect example. Thank you so much. Before I hand things over to Bob for the Q&A, I just want to quickly tell you again, Form Assembly, relatively new to the HubSpot ecosystem, but we know that we can help you. If you're looking to unlock the power of the HubSpot CRM and you're feeling limited by the form and data collection tools at your disposal, Form Assembly can help. You can keep your data inside of your CRM, but you can start doing more things with your forms. You can build forms faster. You can build forms that include multiple actions like payment processing, like lead creation, object creation, etc. We'd love to help you do that. We've been doing it for the Salesforce ecosystem, again, as I said, for more than 20 years. We're here to provide that value for the HubSpot ecosystem. So before you go today, if you're interested in playing around with the tools that Shakima just showed you, we do have a free trial of Form Assembly Atlas, the latest version of the Form Assembly platform that includes the AI agent and the assistant that you saw. You can try Form Assembly for 14 days, absolutely free. I saw I saw a question come through asking if there was a subscription obligation. You can build a proof of concept without a subscription. And then if you like what you've done with Form Assembly, you can, of course, move forward with a subscription there as well. We also have some real world applications of Form Assembly with HubSpot users. You can download that ebook. It's titled, I believe, HubSpot Asset in the handout section. And of course, if you'd like to talk to our team to understand what Form Assembly can do for you, I'd encourage you on this next poll to answer yes. And my team will reach out to you. We can give you a more personalized demo than what you just saw with Shakima. But we can show you where Form Assembly can help solve some of the challenges that you might be experiencing. Bob, if you're okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll, and we can see if people are interested in chatting, and then we can move into the Q&A.
Absolutely. Okay, so I hope there's a lot of people that click on the yes button there. And while I'm giving you time to do that, we're going to answer some of the questions that we have coming in. So here's a question, and it says, my team is using a mix of HubSpot forms, Google Forms, and something specific for event forms, which is probably everyone is using multiple systems. Is Form Assembly something that I could use to replace these tools?
Yes.
Grab that.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm jumping in, but if we want to bring our panelists back out, that's fine as well. But yes, I mean, one of the things that organizations use Form Assembly for that I think is the most helpful aspect of the platform is doing exactly what this question asked, consolidating. We're not just a form tool, we're a platform. If you are feeling like you're juggling multiple, form type tools, Form Assembly is that place where you can consolidate them. We have an unlimited model where you can use as many forms as you'd like. So you're going to be able to replace and have one place to control all of that data collection. Sorry for jumping in.
Yeah, no worries. I don't know if anybody else has anything they'd like to. All right. Here's another question. So we're always fighting the battle to keep our contacts clean and not create duplicates. How can I make sure this integration wouldn't create new contacts when they already exist? Another perennial problem. How does that work?
I can probably hop in on this one.
Yeah,
So
okay,
within
great.
the builder that I was showing you, there are some guardrails that you can put before any records are created. So you can look up an existing record to see if it exists, not just on email, but any property that exists on that object. So let's say you have Sherry and her name is spelled two different ways. You want to avoid two different Sherrys. So you can look at another unique property on that object that is not going to change or be derivative of one another. So those guardrails is one way you can prevent the duplicate object creation.
Okay, great. Somebody just asked a quick question, and they must be running a conference or events for their company, and they want to know if a speaker's photo can be uploaded into the form as a file. Common request, I'm sure. How does that work? Are you able to do that?
Sure. I guess I can take this one as well. You can add images directly to your form, similar to how I have that map there. That's actually custom code. We don't expect you to do so, but if you have a widget somewhere like a map, or you want to enter an image, that can live directly on the form, on any page of the form. So even at the end, you can have a little speaker section with all the pictures.
All right, fantastic. Okay, I'm just checking the questions here. We have one more, and the questions are, what are the limits for the AI agent that was just shown? So I'm not sure if I'm coming back to you, Shakima, again or not, but what are the limits?
Well, I can jump in there. Shakima, thank you for answering those other questions, though. You're my form expert, so adding photos would be difficult for me, but I know that it is possible. There are no limits. I know that some platforms, someone mentioned price sensitivity with ChatGPT or it being kind of difficult, to accommodate that. There's no limits to the use of Form Assembly's AI agent. It's there as a conversational assistant to build forms for you. So it's just a part of your tool. It is unlimited access there.
Great, fantastic. That looks like about all the questions that we have. We're running close to the top of the hour. So I would like to thank everyone that joined us today, everybody that asked questions, and especially our speakers and sponsors. Just to repeat everybody's names, we have Andy Golden, Partner and Account Executive at Form Assembly, Shakima Franklin, Customer Success Engineer at Form Assembly, Josh Straley, did I get that right, Josh? Senior Product Marketing Manager at Form Assembly, and Kate Hudson, Marketing and Operations Leader, RevOps Specialist at Hubly. Thank you so much, Kate, for coming. You really add a lot. You really do. And thanks to everybody else as well. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, you can download it once the event is archived. If you'd like to review the event or send it to a colleague, you can use the same web address that you used for today's event. It will be archived for 90 days. Plus, as a courtesy, you will receive an email once the archive is posted. So that concludes the event and broadcast today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.